The following presentation was created by the Leadership Pasadena Class of 2007 Community and Safety Team. It's designed to educate and unite families and neighbors in preparing for and dealing with emergencies. It was made possible through the generous contributions of community leaders, local businesses, service organizations, and Pasadena residents. Words appear. Bill Bogart, Mayor, City of Pasadena.
We live in a day and age when disaster can strike at any time, whether it be a natural occurrence, a fire, an earthquake, a flood, or the deliberate act of the human hand, an act of terrorism. Now more than ever before, it is important for each of us to do our part to be prepared in the case of emergency. The short program you're about to watch will help you, as an individual, work with others, your family, your neighbors, your co-workers, and friends in the time of disaster. This will enable you to become well prepared.
The first 72 hours. Do you know your neighbors? Images of fire trucks and firefighters, emergency training, a woman and child pack a backpack, a group of people on a lawn, a woman with a red backpack. Leadership Pasadena Community and Safety Team Project.
Devastating fires, flash floods, earthquakes, and unfortunately, now more than ever, a deliberate act of terror could happen at any time. These disasters could, in a matter of seconds, leave you, your family, and your community in a state of emergency. Have you done any and everything possible to prepare? Recent disasters have caught countless people off guard, serving as continual wake-up calls for individuals and neighborhoods to be prepared for the unexpected. Hello, I'm Beverly White.
NBC News.
Studies have shown that less than 7% of all Americans have any kind of emergency preparedness plan, including a first aid kit. We also know that in many cases, it's not only the initial act that is devastating, it's also not being prepared to address recovery from the chaos and confusion that immediately follow.
Dennis J. Downs, Chief.
We have to prioritize where we're going to put our resources,
Fire Department,
and what we're going to do first to try to save lives. Typically, that's going to be the hospitals,
Huntington Memorial,
the schools if they're in session, the convalescent homes where people are infirm, they can't take care of themselves, and the residents, people that live out in the communities and the neighborhoods, are typically able to take care of themselves right off the get-go.
Planning ahead will not only lessen the impact of a disaster, but also provide safety and security, increasing the chances that you, your loved ones, your home, and your community recover quickly.
Words appear.
In preparing for the first 72 hours after a disaster, in an earthquake, for example, the first key element is to have an actual plan. Do you and your family know how to drop and cover? Do you know how to get out of the house and where to meet if and once they're all outside? It's very important that you meet with your family at least twice a year to establish, update, and review your emergency plans.
Peter Pinnell, Principal.
Schools are required to conduct monthly and bi-monthly disaster and earthquake safety drills. Children are made aware of the safety process and are often a great resource.
Longfellow Elementary School.
It's a simple process. Drop to the floor and take cover under a sturdy desk or table. You may also get down on the floor beside a sofa or chairs for protection. Hold on until the shaking stops, which could take several minutes. Do not stand in a doorway or go outside during an earthquake. In preparing for the first 72 hours after a disaster, another key point to keep in mind is the possibility of losing your home completely or having to evacuate your apartment or house very quickly and for an extended period of time.
Tim Kelly, PERT-trained community volunteer.
Like for most of us, 9/11 and Katrina served as a sort of a wake-up call for me. It reminded me that this world is a dangerous place and there are a lot of things we can't control, unfortunately. Not only that, we found out that in the first 72 hours after a disaster of some sort, we're pretty much on our own. That's just because the fire and the police can't be everywhere at once. As I was thinking about it, I heard about something called PERT.
Words appear.
P-E-R-T, which stands for Pasadena Emergency Response Team. This is something that's run by the fire department, and it's basically a training exercise that's available for anybody. It's basically excellent training in 3 ways. First of all, they help us figure out what sort of a plan we need to have for our families and for our neighborhoods. How to be organized if something terrible happens. Turns out it makes a big difference if we have an idea of where we're going to meet people, maybe who's going to share what tools. We are organized so that we can help those who need help. Secondly, they told us how to make an emergency kit. And that's really just using common sense, but it's making the effort to do that. Pulling together a little first aid kit, portable radio, flashlight, blanket, whistle in case you're trapped somewhere, food and water for 72 hours, that's all we're talking about. But it makes all the difference to do that and to have that ready and available. And thirdly, They brought us up to a training facility that they have to do some search and rescue. They basically simulated a partially collapsed house and brought us in there and told us how to search for and safely recover someone who might be trapped inside. One of the things that they stress with PERT is that it's important not just to save our own skins, but to reach out to those around us.
During the first 72 hours after a disaster, it is important to check your home to make sure it's structurally safe. Check the utilities. Make sure you don't see any electrical problems, water flow, or gas problems. If you smell, hear, or suspect a gas leak, get out of the house. On your way out, open the doors and windows and turn the gas off at the main.
Martin Johnson.
When you're doing your site safety survey,
Battalion Chief.
checking your structure to see if everything's good.
Fire Department.
You want to check for any broken natural gas lines. If you have a smell of natural gas, shut off the gas at the meter. If you don't smell natural gas, leave it on. It may be days or even a week before the gas company can come out.
Words appear. Gas safety.
Natural gas leaks can be extremely hazardous. If you suspect a gas leak, shut off the main valve and open all windows and doors. Never use candles or matches if you suspect a leak, and do not turn on electrical switches or appliances.
After you've checked the exterior and you've checked for any broken chimneys, anything that might fall on you, you want to find your water heater and see if your water pipes are damaged.
Water safety.
If they are damaged, you want to shut off the valve to your water heater so that you have 20 to 50 gallons of water. If it is not damaged, then leave it on for your use.
Electrical safety.
If you should have an electrical fire, you should know the location of your electrical panel. When you shut off the electricity, shut off individual breakers first and then shut off the main.
During the first 72 hours, it is also very important to know who your neighbors are. It is also important to know which of your neighbors may have special needs, such as being elderly or having young children whose parents may not be home.
Lisa Derdarian.
During a disaster, we cannot rely on cell phones,
Emergency Management Coordinator.
landline phones. We need to have plans in place ahead of time. Face-to-face communications is going to be a #1 priority. Know your neighbors, know the resources on your block,
Fire Department.
and know a plan that you have ahead of time to help one another.
Words appear.
A key element in your neighborhood's success in being prepared for the first 72 hours is identifying those individuals with special skills in your community, such as doctors, nurses, those trained in CPR and child or infant care. It's also important to find out and note the various professionals in your local community, like electricians, carpenters, plumbers, and even CB and ham radio operators.
We can't be complacent. We have to go through training ahead of time to be prepared for a disaster. The Pasadena Emergency Response Team Training, or PERT, gives you a great overview of how to help yourselves and help your neighbors.
When skilled neighbors work as a team, neighborhoods can do the greatest good for the greatest number of people. One of the most important elements in surviving the first 72 hours is an emergency kit. Putting together an emergency kit with your entire family is another great way to include children and young people in the process.
3 boys pack a kit.
Every emergency kit should include flashlights, whistles, emergency blankets, energy bars, a first aid kit, and lots of drinking water. And don't forget the candy. Every kid needs candy. Be sure your family knows where their emergency kit is at all times.
Another great idea is keeping sturdy shoes and a flashlight under your bed. Work gloves are also important in case you need to move broken glass or sharp objects.
A battery-powered radio, a power generator, and a cutting tool are also very important. You may also need a tarp or a tent in case your home is unsafe and you have to stay outside.
From past experience, we know that local schools and community churches have always played a large role in emergency care. However, in the case of disaster preparedness, it's a good rule of thumb to contact them beforehand, not only to connect, but also to find out what services they offer.
Reverend Kenneth Baker.
Our intent is to actually be a player in the whole endeavor of making sure that we take care of people during times of emergency preparedness.
Youth pastor.
We would like to be prepared beforehand, and we would like to educate people about preparedness as well. But at the actual crossroads of an emergency, we would like to be centralized here so that home base becomes the perfect place to deal with spiritual aspects, to deal with physical needs, and to focus on people holistically.
First AME Church.
And finally, be aware that some paperwork is going to have to be done.
Bernard K. Malekian.
As part of preparation, the idea that you may have to leave your home, most people think in terms of their picture albums. They don't necessarily think in terms of identification, passport, cash.
Chief of Police.
There's a good opportunity, there's a good chance rather that the ATMs are not going to be working.
Police Department.
So if you need to spend money, you need to have some cash.
So let's recap the key points of emergency preparedness for and during the first 72 hours.
Words appear.
Know how to take cover and then exit a building during an emergency. Already have a plan developed with your family and a location to meet outside your home. Meet with your neighbors and become familiar with the skills, talents, and special needs each of you have. Prepare a basic emergency kit and know what it must contain. Learn how to turn off the gas and secure your immediate area. Try as a group to attend local PERT, Citizens Academy, or first aid and other training, and become aware of what services your area schools, churches, and nonprofit agencies provide. So there you have it, a quick reference guide that will help you better prepare and cope with the first 72 hours, and also help you become better acquainted with your neighbors and community as well. Should a disaster strike, will you and your family be prepared? Do you know your neighbors? Empower yourself and those around you. Become your own first response team. Be prepared. I'm Beverly White. Thank you and take care.
Credits scroll. Special thanks to Charter Communications for funding the Accessible Emergency Preparedness Video Project. Bill Bogart, Mayor, City of Pasadena. City Manager, Michael J. Beck, Kim Myers, Lisa Dodarian, Robert Gorski, Thelma Johnson, Marlene Otto, and the Accessibility and Disability Commission. Credits from the original video. Leadership Pasadena 2007 Community and Safety Team. Producer-Director, Chando Mapoma. Camera operators, Juan Rosas, Casey Brooks, Chris Lenge. Writers, Chando Mapoma, Denise Ames, Martin Johnson. Special thanks to Kathleen Terry, Leadership Pasadena Class Facilitator. Craig Watson, VP Communications, Charter Communications. Sue Clark, Community Representative for Disaster Emergency Services Council. Reverend Dr. Johnny Carlisle Jr., Senior Pastor, Pasadena First AME Church. Roger Schraggy, World Vision. April Kelsey, Earthquake Solutions. This program was produced in conjunction with Charter Communications Local Programming Los Angeles, copyright 2007. Description by AudioEyes LLC. For more information, PERT, Pasadena Emergency Response Team, www.cityofpasadena.net/fire/PERT.asp, 626-744-7276. CPA, Citizens Police Academy, www.cityofpasadena.net/police/community_SERV/CPA.asp, 626-744-4551.